All right. That's it. We're back. Happy New Year.
We finally did it! Yeah! Look at us! One of us was dying, the other one was getting boobs. It was a time.
I'm glad it was you getting boobs this year. Last year it was me, I think. All right. Gonna jump into the news because I feel like we have a bunch of stuff. We haven't done an episode of this in a few weeks now because this got pushed back a little further than we originally intended. I guess announcements for new shows or season 2s and 3s and whatever. Made in Abyss season 2 is coming in 2022. We already knew it was coming eventually. We might have already known it was coming in 2022. I don't know if we've talked about that or not. Comey Can't Communicate is getting season 2 in April of 2022, which is pretty quick because it just finished airing, right?
Yeah, it just finished airing, so it's a very quick turnaround for them. They're pretty much only giving themselves about 4 months off.
Yeah, so I didn't watch season 1 of that. I don't know if I should, but season 2 coming out
We
real
can
soon.
talk about that later.
Yeah, I'm sure we will as one from this season. I'm talking about more shows from this season. 86 has like 2 more episodes left, and they're just getting delayed until March 12th and March 19th, which is frustrating.
It is, and also this show has just been so weird because they had like 2 recap episodes that could have just been the actual
It's such a mess.
Yeah,
we'll talk
really
about
is.
it later.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about it.
Because I've been complaining about 86 since season 1 came out, so I'll gladly complain about season 2 later as well. Jujutsu Kaisen Zero's movie, already out in Japan, but coming to North America, South Korea, and Hong Kong in short order, coming in February of 2022.
I think exact date for North America is actually like February 18th, I want to say.
Okay.
Something like middle of February, so, you know, feel free to correct me, but I'm pretty sure because my friend was sending it to me the other day, and so I'm already trying to plan to get tickets for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have like AMC gift cards and stuff I got, so I'm kind of thinking I know where it's going now.
True. Good idea.
While we're on the topic of movies, Odd Taxi, another 2021 anime, is getting a movie, Odd Taxi in the Woods, that's set for April 1st of 2022, it looks like.
God, I need to get around to watching that because I know all I hear are good things, and like, you know, I've been hanging out with Sea Dog VA a lot, and one of the things he was even talking about yesterday was that he needs to watch it as well. So the fact that, like, you know, he's highly feeling about it as well, like it's very apparent that it's something that is worth watching, and I just need to get around to doing it.
Yeah, I watched it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I'm a little confused by the announcement of the movie. I don't want to, say things if you haven't seen it, but it's one of the things that made it popular and made people pay attention was towards the very end, those last few episodes. So obviously people enjoyed where it ended. I don't know if it really needs a movie or not, but I mean, it'll probably still be really good and enjoyable. I can't imagine it being too bad.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Other movie news, got a few movie things to talk about, actually. Belle was nominated for the Oscars, which is super cool. We finally have something to compete with The Boss Baby. I saw Belle in a private screening at Anime NYC. It's awesome. It is really, really good. The US release for that is January 14th, which, if I don't completely botch the release of this video, will be tomorrow. So I would go check that out as well. I went into it kind of with.
Do you want to give maybe like a little bit of a synopsis as to what it might be for people?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna be a little, I guess, vague, but like.
Yeah.
I went into it thinking, it's called Belle, and it had some Beauty and the Beast inspiration. I kind of expected it to just be a Japanese remake of Beauty and the Beast, but it ended up being so much different. Like it wasn't the same story at all. It wasn't like the same cast or anything. It was just kind of like loosely inspired by Beauty and the Beast, but like a really good struggling. A really good movie if you like musical things or like really emotional shows and movies like that. I thought it was really good.
I do like crying, so emotions are me.
And my wife
I'll
and I
probably have
watched
to
it.
go check it out.
My wife and I watched it in the theater. She was like, "I just cried so many times in front of all those people. I just." It got us. It did.
Did you cry though? That's my real question.
I was definitely actively holding back tears a few times.
Okay.
I don't know
All
if
right,
any. I don't know if I let any out.
That in itself, for those who are watching, that is a testament to himself. Like that's a testament to how good it is. Then, if he was holding back tears.
And then I think the final bit of movie news I have here is, and I wrote this in quotes because I think it's funny, but Miyazaki will return to direct one final film for Studio Ghibli.
I feel like we've heard one final film for the past like 8 years.
He's finally coming out of retirement, everyone. So I don't buy it. But I mean, more Miyazaki films are cool.
Oh yeah, you're never gonna say no to a Miyazaki film. Like, I mean, that's that's so many people's gateway to anime. I remember my Japanese teacher, when I had them in college, they didn't watch any anime, but when we would ask them, he was like, I love Miyazaki, I love Studio Ghibli, and it was just like the cutest thing.
Yep.
So yeah, Miyazaki always holds a special place in our heart, whether you are like even native Japanese or just somebody watching from a foreign country.
Yeah, I mean, I got my Totoro and my Nausicaa tattoos. I got plenty of Ghibli stuff on that back table over there too, so I'll watch whatever he does. Separate the works from the individual, and I'll enjoy the movies. Now some other, I guess, just other news. I don't know how to qualify these. Two of these are straight up baffling.
Yeah.
The first baffling one is AMC acquired Sentai Filmworks and High Dive. AMC, known for having The Walking Dead and like 10 Western shows that nobody watches. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I'm gonna be honest, AMC, I was thinking the theaters.
That was what I thought at first. I was like, all right, but no.
Yeah, I was like, okay, the AMC theaters bought them. That makes sense, but no, we're talking about like The Walking Dead.
No, they're gonna like have like a Walking Dead marathon one day, and the next day they're gonna have a Monster Girl in Another World airing. Like, I don't understand what they're doing at all.
It just falls under what 2021 is, which has been a disaster every year that I have no idea how to even explain what's going on anymore.
Yes, I don't know I have no idea what's going on with that move. That's I like anime, and if I owned AMC, I would not be doing that. That seems like a mistake.
I mean, I remember like at one point, like the Sci-Fi Network had their like Annie Mondays, but they didn't outright buy a damn anime, studio and stuff like that.
Also, there's a ton of like, you can market that, right? There's a bunch of sci-fi anime. I don't know what.
Yeah, like I remember I watched Double O Gundam, the one from like 2007 on there, and like that made sense for the Sci-Fi Network,
and it fits their target audience in a way. Like, you have like Star Trek and things like that on. Just flip it over to Gundam, and like, yeah, you can retain a lot of people.
Yeah. Meanwhile, when you go to, I mean, to be fair, Sentai is, at least their headquarters is in Houston, so it's not like it's
I don't know.
Yeah, it has that, so there is like a little bit that like it makes sense, but I'm trying to give it something.
Anything.
Yeah.
Less exciting news, less happy news. Voice actress Sayaka Kanda passed away at 35. Which is super young.
Yeah, that's way too young.
I don't know if I really know too much of her anime voice roles, but I know I think her biggest role was Anna in Frozen in the Japanese version, obviously.
Let's Sayaka. Let me just see real quick. I can see if there's anything that rings a bell to me. I mean, if I look through, yeah, it looks like she didn't do too much. Like, she did, yeah, Frozen dubbing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she did a few anime things. She did Yuna from SAO, so she was in like the movie for Ordinal Scale, and then her like one episode appearance there. But yeah, she's definitely someone who seemed to have been more under the traditional field of film and TV, but still, anybody passing away is super sad. And I know a lot of people liked Yuna as a character from SAO, so she is somebody that obviously has a little bit of a connection. And I feel like that character if I remember correctly, that character's not going to be gone, so they're probably going to find a different VA for them.
Yeah, I don't remember it. Either way, super tragic. I mean, 35 is too young. Other voice actor news. Tatsuhisa Suzuki, I'm going to leave that in one take, was removed from several of his voice acting roles. I forget a few of the other ones, but the most recent one, and probably the biggest one, was Talkin from Tokyo Revengers.
He's done a lot of stuff. Like, he was in Pokemon as well, and his one role that he's not going to be losing is he's still going to be doing a character from Free.
Okay. I'm actually surprised to hear not that he's retaining his role in Free, but that there's more Free.
I mean, you know, people just again, I'm just going off of what I read there. It said that apparently they have said that he's not losing his role in Free.
It was Anos in the whatever the most recent like super ridiculously overpowered isekai show was. He lost his role in that. Google.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your word for it. Draken is the one that
the Misfitted Demon Academy or something like that. He was the lead of that and lost that role as well. He's the one that cheated on Lisa, and it was more than that, right? There
was a lot more that we don't need to necessarily go into detail, but
not gonna.
Needless to say, I know Draken's voice was pretty iconic to me. Like that was probably like one of the more exciting VA works that was in Tokyo Revengers. And whenever we get a season 2, which I know there is going to be a season 2, and that airs, it's one of those things that I hope that somebody can at least match that expression that we had. Yeah, obviously this is somebody that should not be associated with the anime anymore, but his voice is still something that, you know, is iconic in a sense for what we heard.
Yeah, I mean, I liked his voice as Draken, but it is good to see, you know, consequences. Yeah, exactly. We don't always get that, unfortunately, but...
And more lighthearted news.
The news that makes AMC buying Sentai look brilliant. This is hot off the press from, I believe, this morning. Among Us is getting a manga adaptation in February of 2022.
Yeah. Sure. That's a sentence. That is a sentence.
I want to, before we get too deep into it, I do want to point out that I think it's hilarious that we're going to get an Among Us manga before we can finish 86. Because of how terrible their production has been. I didn't have that on my bingo card, but I wish I did.
Yeah, apparently we need to make a bingo card starting now of what was going to come first. All right, what's the next one? Are we going to get a Fall Guys manga before we get Spice and Wolf Season 3?
I mean, yeah, odds are.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I don't... It's interesting because I was thinking about it and like, I feel like the concept of Among Us, if you turn it into like just a narrative story, whether it's a manga, movie, show, whatever, it works. Sure. But I also feel like we've seen 100 anime with that premise.
I think we've seen enough fan fiction of Among Us manga to know that it's not going to be anything too exciting, and I feel like it's a cash grab. And in all
Oh yeah.
honesty, I know that I will say I know that Among Us is like surprisingly popular in like Japan. Like if you've ever watched people do like Japanese crane games and stuff like that, there's always like at least like one or two
Yep.
cranes that have like Among Us in there. Like it's kind of wild just how like that game still has like a almost like a cling to like the Japanese like pop culture.
Mhm.
So it'll probably sell well just because it seems like it has like a stronger
Yeah.
connection there right now, but it's wild.
Yeah, I assume it will sell well and do well. And I mean, I've some of the fan fics. I've seen some like comics that were more like realistic art instead of the generic like Among Us shape, and it looked pretty cool. But I don't. They're probably gonna stay with the source material.
I hope I get to read everyone calling each other sus.
Oh God, no! Oh,
They're gonna take Sussy Baka to a whole new level.
is that a Nagatoro reference? Into the sleeper category, the sleeper from fall 2021. Yeah, we both wrote down the same thing right now.
Yeah.
I at the mid-season was starting to hear some rumblings for Osama ranking. That was mid-November. We were maybe 5-6 episodes into the season, and I think Osama ranking started a bit late.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I picked it up that day and threw it in as my sleeper prediction at the midway point, and I still think it is absolutely deserving of that. It's not getting the recognition it deserves, but it has been amazing.
That's precisely why I also have it there, is because in all honesty, a lot of the anime that I was watching or I feel like have been talked about are higher up on that like watched list already, you know. So it doesn't really make sense for me to call something like Blue Period a sleeper because at this point there's a lot more notoriety to it, whereas Osama ranking hasn't been able to get any sort of notoriety really outside of, you know, the couple people who have been talking about it. Like, to put it in perspective, there's about 80,000 people who have said that they've watched Blue Period comparatively to Osama ranking. And I think that that kind of tells you just how much of like a gap that it is between how many people are watching this. And I have a friend who hasn't seen too much anime. She went out of her way to be like, hey, you need to watch this. If she's seen about a dozen anime and she's going out of her way to see this thing, that kind of tells me, okay, there's something going on here.
Yeah, and it's super like unique, and I think it's actually a really good one for people that don't necessarily watch a ton of anime, because it feels very much like, I think I said it last time, but like a Grimm Brothers like fairy tale. Like it feels like an 80s or 90s fairy tale show rather than an anime.
I can see that.
And talking about the popularity of it and the reason that it's now the unanimous sleeper of the season. It is the 10th most watched show this season, according to Mal. It is the 24th ranked show on the website. Period.
It's creeping up toward that 9 while still having about half of its episodes left. And
yeah,
if you get up to a 9, that's kind of telling. And I mean, then you look at everything else that's really like that's being aired or that did air that was around that, and like nothing is ever coming close. So to call something a sleeper, like it felt like the only logical one that makes sense right now is Osama ranking.
Yeah, no, it is that good, and there is still. I mean, it's 2 course, so if you haven't started it yet, pick it up and jump on the train before that ends.
Yeah, there's a lot of anime that aired this season that's like continuing into the next one. So it's this entire like ranking system feels like it's going to be hard to sort of do, because there's a lot of things that I think that are, you know, deserving of saying maybe anime of the season, but I'm also just like, but it's not ending now, so I don't want to call it the anime of the season.
Yep, I feel the same way. It was so weird that it felt like everything either started late, like Osama ranking, Stone Ocean, and the Jujutsu Kaisen, or not Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm sorry, Demon Slayer season 2, all started like 4 or more weeks into the season. And,
I mean, for even like Demon Slayer's sake, that was 7 episodes before it got to like the actual part.
Yeah, so and like some of them aren't done. All 3 of those I named are still going. So there's a lot of unfinished shows and shows that started late this season. It's very, very tough to gauge.
Yeah.
Ready to jump into Overrated?
Yeah, I think so. I'll start this one here because we kind of implied that we were to talk about it a bit, and this is where I want to say I had higher hopes for Comey Can't Communicate, and I think that in the grand scheme of things, it's good. I just have a particular issue with its way of doing it. Feels very episodic, and they kind of treat it almost like a Saturday morning cartoon where you used to have like 2 13-minute segments instead of like the one 23-minute segment kind of thing. And I find that just very hard for me to want to stay interested when they're almost just treated as like little snippets here and there. And I don't know if that's how the manga is, and maybe they just, or maybe they tried to do their own stylistic difference. But because of that, I just found myself losing less and less interest in the show. And I probably only made it like 5 or 6 episodes in because it just ended up being something that I wanted to follow on this journey of her feeling like she, can get friends and stuff like that. And that's like a really heartwarming story. But when you make it this episodic thing and you cut it into segments every time, it's just my interest started to wane.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched Comey, but that's something that we saw with Nagatoro, and it's something that we saw with Kaguya-sama Love is War. It works for Kaguya, but I think it just works because it's just a better show. Like, I don't feel like it worked for Nagatoro, but I just don't think Nagatoro was very good. So I don't know. It's a format that can work, but I feel like it comes down to what the source material is.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there was already a ton of fear as to how this anime was going to be able to work as an anime about a character who has social anxiety and doesn't even want to talk. There's a lot of silence and moments like that, but they were doing a good job with that. It's just, again, it's something that it got a lot of hype, and I just couldn't even see myself finishing it now, and that's a shame.
Yeah, I did also see a screen cap side by side of the official Netflix subtitles and like a fan made thing, and there's like a whole chalkboard or a whole list of items, maybe 20, 30 things written on the screen, and the subtitles are only translating the dialogue. They did absolutely nothing to convey what was written there in the official Netflix version. So you miss a few bullet points.
They definitely are. It felt like they were cutting corners in some of those situations there.
Yep. And then into my Overrated, I told you we were going to talk about 86 again. This show has had production issues since before season 1 aired. I think season 1 was supposed to be it's supposed to be a year before it came out. I think 2020 or something. And it came out, early 21? And now season...
I feel like late 21, I want to...
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, late 20 is what I meant to say. Maybe 21.
Yeah. And it got delayed from different production issues there. And now, again, we're stuck sitting here waiting for the final 2 episodes, the big finale. They're delayed till March when they're supposed to be coming out in like December. So that's pretty rough. And the content of the show, I know a lot of people like it, people defend it. I'm not a fan of even the content, even if it was.
I'm going to be honest.
On time.
I think its quality has been dropping, and it almost, the way that I was describing to it is, it feels like it's losing its identity, and it's losing what it wanted to do, because it feels like it's
absolutely.
It felt like we were supposed, the way that it was like, it was initially giving off these ideas as to, okay, we're going to meet this, we're going to see that, and now we're at this point where it feels as though it's not doing the things that we were expecting, and it's almost like jarring.
Yeah, it's something I thought and I was worried about when season 1 ended is, where are they going from here? Does this need a season 2? The same way I'm kind of afraid for the Odd Taxi movie. Like, does this need a season 2? Not really, but I could see them doing something, and I gave it a chance, and I like season 2 much less than I like season 1. And I think they should have just stopped at season 1, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. There's just a lot of confusion as to why things are taking as long and why things are struggling and why it's choosing the direction it's going.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely lost its way too. The vision of the show was kind of resolved in season 1 almost. It's just a completely different direction season 2, and it feels unnecessary.
Yeah.
I also will shout it out for you. I will throw Platinum End in here. I didn't want to leave it as my overrated. 1, because that allows me to, or it prevents me from complaining about 86. But 2, because I think everybody has realized now, 12 episodes, 13 episodes in, that Platinum End's just shit. So I'll let you take it away from there on Dumpster Fire.
Oh, you want me to talk about to talk about this fucking Dumpster Fire?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I called it overrated when it first, before it even started. Yep. I was like, this is gonna be overrated. The pacing is bad. The characters are boring. The somehow
characters are terrible.
They somehow turned Mirai Nikki into a worse anime. It's literally Mirai Nikki with boring characters. The angels I couldn't care about at all. They try to have these emotional moments and these very, oh god, how are they going to do this? And it just becomes like awkward. The pacing again is all over the place. And also, can we talk about? I'm going to get into a little bit of a spoiler here. Can we talk about the one girl that you get introduced with? That
that I remember that, because that was like right after our mid-season episode. It was like immediately after. And I still was like on the fence of like, I could get good and become something. As soon as that episode came, I was like, no, this is garbage. It just fell apart completely. Like, it had potential.
There's a character who, I'll just put it in the nicest way possible. She is a masochist, I think is the best way to put that.
Yeah.
And they very, very much spend too much time going into detail about her pleasures with it.
Yep. I think actually I watched the other day, Critical did a video on, it was like his problem with anime or what he hates about anime or something like that. And he specifically addresses that episode of Platinum End.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed.
It's a dumpster fire, but at the same time, I also am like, I kind of want to see this through, only because I know how bad it is, and I'm like, is it going to get any worse? To put it in perspective, this has a 6.5, and if you read the reviews on Mal, no, this isn't Death Note's successor we were expecting. No. It's Mirai Nikki with boring characters. That's the first one there.
Did you write
Overall rating 3.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely correct. It's I do kind of care about the angels. Like that's the only characters I remotely care about. The main characters is just the worst cast of characters ever.
Yeah.
Like, my wife and I were watching it together. We spend the entire runtime of every episode yelling at the screen, just do something. We don't care what.
The detective's cool. The detective is cool, but that's really it.
Yeah, he's, among the cast, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But, like, I find both of us yelling at the screen the whole time, just like, we don't care what you do. Just take an action. Go. It's like, frustrating.
It's like, take Takamichi from Tokyo Revengers and then somehow make him 5 times worse.
Yeah.
And that's the main cast.
You know what? That's a good point. That's a great comparison, because my wife and I yelled at Takamichi a lot too.
I know you did. That's why, one of my best friends and I would yell at him all the time as well. So,
but at least the rest of Tokyo Revengers and the rest of the cast is awesome, and it carries that.
Yes,
there's
exactly.
nothing to make up for it.
Yeah, there's nothing going on in this, and that's why it somehow just goes deeper and deeper into the shitter, and now it's a dumpster fire.
It's so disappointing. But a show that did not disappoint in any capacity and fully delivered on everything it promised was Tesla Note, baby. Oh, I love that. Oh, it was so good. It was so bad. It was awful in every way. I think one episode was actually so bad that it was good. I think it was episode 9 is hysterical and amazing, and I loved it. The rest of it, it was kind of boring and hard to watch at times, but it was absolutely the worst thing that I've seen.
Would you say it is? You're saying it's the worst thing that you've seen, worse than any other show that you've done?
No,
or...
Handshakers is worse. Handshakers is worse.
Okay.
It definitely belongs in the bin with Handshakers and X-Arm though. It fits, but it kind of suffers from the same things that those do that like the Mars of Destructions don't suffer from, and that's Mars of Destruction is a 20-minute investment and it's hilarious. Tesla Note is 13 episodes. They couldn't settle at 12. They had to do 13 because of the intricate plot. It's just kind of boring. Like it's doesn't have that many like hilarious moments except for the entirety of episode 9.
I was ready for you to say, except for how bad everything was. So it currently has a 4.7 on Mal.
That's a bigger number than I thought you were gonna say.
A 4.7 is still impressive.
I want you to know now, reading off these numbers, Tesla Note is closer to Platinum End than Platinum End is to Osama ranking.
Excellent. I think that's fair.
It's hard to disagree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anime of the season?
Yeah.
Last one of 2021?
Yeah, we finally got here. Look at
that. You want to kick it off or should I?
I think you should, because, I mean, I feel like mine's going to be obvious, and on top of that, I started that last one.
That's fair. My list for anime of the season is tough. I wrote down 3 candidates, but kind of like we discussed earlier, they all aren't done. I don't know how we're going to classify Demon Slayer, and I don't know how we're going to classify JoJo's.
I'm going off of what Mal says, and they call them winter anime, so that's the only reason why I personally am not, but...
Okay. Yeah, I mean, those 2... The one that you'll say and the one I'll actually give, I think, are the 4 best things that started this season, but it's a very confusing season. I think not only is it the sleeper of the season, but I think Osama Ranking is the best anime this season.
I think it's totally fair.
I think it's that good. Like I see it ranked 24 on Mal, and like it's hard to see something that high and be like, yep, that's where it deserves to be, but it's hard to bump it down much further.
Yeah.
Like, I think it deserves the almost 9 rating it has.
I mean, you also have to think about that, like, in that top area, there's 15 different Gintamas. So, in terms of uniqueness, it's probably, like, top 10 if you just conglomerate all of the Gintamas together.
Yeah, Gintama needs to relax. Yeah, I had one problem with Osama ranking. I think it was episode 4 or 5 or something. It was like really weird. Like if you've seen the show, I feel like you probably know what I'm talking about. But there was just one episode that like it felt like a fever dream where like like the pacing of the show as a whole great, the story and everything great. That one episode felt like they did a full volume or something in 20 minutes. I don't know if they did or not.
Promised Neverland shit right there.
Yeah, like I don't know if they did or not, but something felt off. That episode, something was wrong. But everything before that and everything after that has been fantastic. And that episode was needed to keep the story going. Like you can't just skip it. But it was really weird. Like it worried me.
Almost jarring.
Yeah, it was very jarring. It worried me for a second because I thought that, you know, the first few episodes was just like a fluke and it was going to fall off. But it picked itself back up after episode 4 or 5, whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about it already,
yeah.
And I don't know how much more input I can give to it, but I think that Osama Ranking is definitely worthy of being anime of the season. I purposely didn't put it in sleeper, or I put it in sleeper over anime of the season just because I wanted to have difference in my sleeper and my anime of the season. So I think that for the sake of being able to have a conversation about it, it's definitely, there's no reason to say that it wouldn't be. And if you were to go up to somebody and say, "What's your anime of the season?" and say, call a summer ranking there, like I don't think anybody's going to discredit your opinion for that.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like I said, the ones I mentioned, we're not counting Demon Slayer or JoJo's, and it was either I was doubling down on Osama ranking, or I was gonna just agree with your anime of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, my anime of the season is Blue Period. Yeah, what a shocker! What a shocker! It's almost like I've been hyping that up for a year now. And
Legitimately a year.
as soon as I knew that there was as soon as I knew an anime was coming, I said, "Look out for it!" And damn, was I just happy. They officially passed where the physical manga that I had was, so
okay.
I actually had new material because there's only
That's cool. That's a good
4,
experience.
yeah. So there were only 4 volumes for me that I own right now, and I think the 5th one comes out in like February. So the 5th one's probably going to cover this last little bit. So for me, I had known a bunch of stuff up until the last couple episodes. So I got to experience those last couple episodes with the idea of I don't know what's going to be happening, and I felt really satisfied with that ending. I think that it is just a lovely story of being, and I keep recommending this to everybody. If you don't like traditional anime, or you don't like, just shonens and stuff like that, and you want something that feels a little bit more, I guess, like stay at home, more like you could probably see a traditional show writing a show about this in America. And I think that Blue Period delivers on that, and it does tremendous jobs with LGBTQIA issues. It creates these female characters that are actually like compelling and you want to root for. And on top of that, the main character isn't boring like half of the other anime that aired this season.
Yeah, and they handle things really, really cool, like impactful ways of like talking about things like mental health and stress, and having these dreams and ambitions, and putting your all into something. It reminds me, I mean, a more serious kind of, I guess, darker tone, like sports anime, where it takes you on this journey and this passion of this thing that these characters love, and that they want to, make a career out of and be the best and do this great thing. And it does have those kind of moments where it's like teaching you about painting and drawing and art and all these different materials, where for me that was a cool experience because I like art, but I'm not very knowledgeable. Whereas
I agree.
Sports, I'm knowledgeable. Like I don't need to know the rules of volleyball more than one episode.
Yeah.
So,
and I know one of your concerns before this even started was the studio that was doing it, 7 Arcs.
Yeah.
They don't have the biggest track record, and we weren't sure how they were going to handle it. But I think it's easy to say that this was probably their best work that they've had right now, and I'm very happy with how things went out, and I hope that they can continue the success that they did with this. And I mean, I'm not 100% sure, as somebody who, again, they've already passed where I was reading, whether or not there could be possibilities of a season 2, but who knows, because they could they could easily follow up with continuing that, and
yeah,
I would not complain one bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. And now, one final thing before we end this. Sometimes I like to throw in a little something extra for us to talk about, to figure out. Since this is the end of the year, the end of the 2021 anime year, and the end of our first full year doing Talkin' Trash, we started this in January. So it's kind of cool to see a full year of this come around.
We made it a year.
Yeah. And we didn't miss any episodes. We've had delays, but we didn't miss anything.
Yeah, that's the big one.
So I wanted to throw out the question of, what is your anime of the year? We're walking away, obviously, right now with Osama ranking and Blue Period closing out the year strong, but everything from the first season, where it was pretty much just the battle between Attack on Titan and Re:Zero, through now, what do you have as the top anime of the year?
I have a hard time deciding between two, but I think I have to go with Tokyo Revengers because
Mhm.
it is the only anime that came out this year that I am reading the manga, I'm catching up with it, I got ingrained in it, I've been looking for figures. It has been something that I have absorbed in. It is a weekly thing where me and two of my best friends, all of us, one of us will link the chapter and we'll read it and then talk about it. Like,
Mhm.
I haven't had that experience with something else, and I know that's obviously the manga and not the anime, but the anime is what brought me here, and so
Yes.
it's hard for me to say that without that anime I wouldn't have this like connection to it. And I mean, overall, I very much enjoy the story, and I very much enjoy Tokyo Revengers, and I want a Draken figure.
Yeah, I loved Tokyo Revengers. I thought it was awesome. It's of the non-sequels to come out this year. I think that Osama Ranking, Blue Period, and Odd Taxi were probably the best handful of them. Just, I guess, two more recommendations. Just really drive it home that you should watch Odd Taxi and Osama Ranking.
To Your Eternity also, if you want to go into that grouping of things.
Yes. To Your Eternity as well. I also saw that Odd Taxi won the 2021 Anime of the Year at IGN, which I thought they just did gaming.
No, I mean, I know IGN does a little bit more pop culture. I'm more surprised that they chose something along those lines because
Yeah.
like, the people like to make fun of like the Crunchyroll award shows where they kind of went a little bit more mainstream in some of their awards and stuff like that. So it's a testament to IGN for being like, hey, Odd Taxi, and not, hey, Attack on Titan.
Yeah. And then I think one that I have to bring up is one that you made me catch up to, and one that I see you listed as I guess a nominee is Fruits Basket.
That was the other one that I was
on. I figured you had both of those ahead of To Your Eternity. Fruits Basket, the final season was really good. I don't think it was anime of the season for me, but or anime of the year, sorry, but it was definitely worth the watch. It is very hard for me to say anything other than Attack on Titan's final season. It really is. I know it's like the coldest take of all time, but it's good. Like, it's awesome. I don't know how to argue against it. As much as I loved things like Tokyo Revengers, Odd Taxi, ReZero, Fruits Basket, and Osama Ranking this year, none of them are as good as Attack on Titan. So that has to be the anime of the year for me. And
with the most mild of takes,
yeah.
I mean, at the same time, nobody would probably argue against you. They call you a normie.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
I mean, yeah.
Look, I mean, that's something too. Like you just said, people rag on the Crunchyroll Awards for going very mainstream with things, and it's true, they do, but there's a reason that stuff's mainstream.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's a reason that many people want to watch it. It's that good. I hope Attack on Titan season 2, final season 2 is good. I just hope it ends.
I was about to say, I hope it's the ending for it.
Yeah.
I don't want the final. I don't want the final season.
No. That's like some Gintama shit. Gintama dropped the final season, and then like a month later I saw they announced the semi-finals. What does that mean?
We're gonna have a Attack on Titan asterisk and then Attack on Titan agreed symbol.
It's all right. Yeah, I hope that's it. I hope, as great as it is, I want great series to have endings. I don't like this, it made money, keep making more stuff. So just let's do what we're supposed to do and end that.
Knowing when to wrap something up is something I think that's important. And
absolutely.
Sometimes that gets lost over, I'm looking at you, Food Wars, where you try to see where the money is and you push yourself to do more than it probably should have.
Nobody should have to cook with a chainsaw or syringes. Like, one syringe at most is enough for a meal.
All right, you heard it here first. That's what we're gonna end on.
That's it. We'll see you soon next week. I'll release the video for winter 2022, where we'll talk about Attack on Titan again, I guess.
And Demon Slayer again.
And Demon Slayer again. And 86, I guess. I guess that's a winter anime now. 'Cause they won't leave me alone.
That's what I'm saying. There's just too much carryover here. But we'll get into that for next episode.
Bye-bye.